Part 7. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 61. Chapter 061 Women a Euro trademark S faith. Fight to the death and never retreat. The pile of corpses was more than 4 meters high and was in the shape of a slope. More than a dozen women stood on the pile of corpses. In front of them were zombies pouring in continuously. Fortunately, the pile of corpses was high enough, eliminating the possibility of zombies climbing up from both sides. This way, more than 10 women were not attacked from both sides, and they were still able to calmly deal with the many zombies climbing up the corpse slope. Lin Fan took a look and saw that zombies were coming from all directions. The smell of blood and living people was too strong here. In addition, the hospital was already crowded with people, so there were a lot of zombies. On the pile of corpses, Li Fengjiao chopped off the head of the reluctant zombie with a knife, lifted the corpse and kicked it to the ground, and without hesitation slashed the other zombie that rushed towards him with his knife. Wiping the sweat from her head, she hasn't stopped since her shift at 2 o'clock in the morning. If Tang Dao hadn't replenished herself with a little strength every time she killed a zombie, she would have been dragged down long ago. From the beginning of killing zombies through the fence, to finding more and more corpses later, the zombies tended to climb up and directly cross the fence, which made her realize that something was wrong. Not only her, but other women also realized that something was wrong. If this continues, sooner or later the zombies will jump over the fence and rush into the hospital. This is not the result they want. The 8 women together gathered directly at the door. With their strength improved, they started to kill the zombies through the courtyard door. As more and more corpses appeared, they stepped out of the courtyard door and stood on the pile of corpses to kill the zombies. The pile of corpses was getting higher and higher, and their strength was improving more and more. Li Fengjiao felt that even if she was fighting alone without the Tang Dao in her hand, she could handle the siege of several grown men. There were more and more zombies, and her physical exertion became more and more serious. Seeing that they could no longer stop the zombies from advancing, in order to prevent the zombies from rushing into the hospital, Li Fengjiao had no choice but to pull up the 8 sleeping girls in the dormitory. With the addition of new forces, they were able to withstand the pressure, but the situation was still not optimistic. The new army has plenty of physical strength, but they are a little exhausted. It seems like they can't kill all the zombies. She is gritting her teeth and holding on, and the same is true for the others. Xiao, I'm almost out of strength, what should I do? Not far away, Lin Xiao kicked a corpse down and breathed in the fresh air. His head was covered with sweat, so much that his hair stuck to his face. Grit your teeth and hold on until the Lord wakes up. Li Fengjiao snorted and killed a zombie that rushed over. Why don't I go and inform you that if this continues, it's not a question of whether we will die, but that we will no longer be able to stop the zombies from advancing. Not far away, Zhu Fangfang, who also belonged to the second team, suggested. After saying these words, the hearts of more than a dozen women sank at the same time. Although they were unwilling to admit it, there were indeed more and more zombies in front of them. Tang in their hands was the knife seemed to weigh 1,000 kilograms, and it was very difficult to swing it. They were almost at the end of their retreat. If they retreated, they would go directly back to the hospital area. Just when the girls were feeling heavy and desperate, Lin Fan rushed over, his palm empty. As soon as they were caught, the 16 women were shocked to lose control of their bodies, and then floated back to the hospital area. They had experienced this kind of situation before, and it was their master. The 16 women all looked behind them, looking at Lin Fan's figure. Their eyes it was bright, but it quickly dimmed. They were almost breached by zombies, and they still needed Lin Fan to save them. It was really bad. Everyone, go get some rest. You've done a great job. Lin Fan recognized the efforts of these women, and his soft words of comfort made Li Fengjiao and others' eyes tingle, and their hearts were moved. Yes, Lord. Lin Fan's words were authority and an absolute order. They did not dare to refute. After bowing respectfully, they dragged their tired bodies away one after another, even the team that came over later. As they watched the group of women walk away, Lin Fan looking back and looking at the piles of zombie corpses, Lin Fan was a little amazed. It was these ordinary women who could withstand the attacks of so many zombies. Even with the Tang Dao he gave him, it was amazing enough. If only if it were an ordinary man, facing the endless zombies that seemed to be endless, he would probably collapse and run for his life, right? After these women have been tortured, their souls have been transformed and become more tenacious. With a grasp of the void, a person with a radius of 1 kilometer can the corpses inside, together with the zombies that came over, floated into the air at the same time. Controlling so many zombies at once was a bit difficult even for Lin Fan's level 6 magnetic control, but fortunately, it was not a big problem. Flying in the air, Lin Fan directly threw these zombies thousands of meters away, and it was as if zombies were raining from the sky. After going back and forth several times to completely clear the corpses around the hospital, Lin Fan stopped, and after some busy work, his mental strength 1/3 of them were consumed. How terrifying is this? The points surged by 4,000 in one night, which gave Lin Fan a taste of the sweetness. These were 16 female warriors who earned points. What if it was 160? What about 1,600? The search for survivors is urgent. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Doomsday. Chapter 62. Chapter 062, Thunder Power Upgrade, for Survivor Team. If a force wants to become bigger and stronger, population is necessary. Based on the population, the army is developed. No force can be sustained by just 1 or 2 people, unless it takes several people to do everything. Doing everything by himself is not what Lin Fan wants. He prefers the feeling of having power and controlling everything, rather than being a tool. Go search for survivors today. Boosting your population is imminent. With the decision made, Lin Fan jumped a few times and left the hospital. This time, Lin Fan did not fly in the sky, flying in the sky looking for survivors. Unless the survivors were running on the street, there was no chance of finding them. Zombies could not help at all. Lin Fan posed a threat. The magnetic control ability not only isolated everything around him, but even distorted the light. The whole person seemed to disappear out of thin air. The zombies could not detect his aura at all, and could not see Lin Fan's figure. Thunder and lightning jumped at the fingertips, and lightning burst out. The lightning full of destructive power could easily burn the brains of zombies into coke. Ding! Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, lightning control ability experience add 1, current experience is 1/10. Ding! Add 1 for killing zombies, add 1 points, add 1 experience for lightning control abilities, current experience is 10/10. Ding! The thunder and lightning ability has been upgraded. The current level is LV2. The destructive power of thunder and lightning has been increased, and the release distance has been increased. Since acquiring the thunder and lightning power, Lin Fan has not killed zombies to increase his power level. Now it is time to brush it up. The initial power upgrade requirements are not high, and it will become more and more abnormal later. The thunder and lightning power has been promoted to LV2, blue lightning arcs enveloped Lin Fan's body. The lightning was stimulating the cells in his body. Lin Fan could feel that his strength had improved a little, but not much. After all, his body was strengthened by LV6 magnetic control. Passed. The lightning quickly disappeared. Lin Fan felt that there was more lightning energy in his body. Different from the mental power required to control magnetism, the lightning superpower was real energy. Not only the energy increased, but the destructive power was also stronger. With his hand, the thunder light condensed, and with a wave of his hand, The thunder light splashed out 10 meters away, directly into the ground. The thunder light exploded, and a deep pit of more than 10 centimeters was opened on the ground. This destructive power is very intuitive, and it falls on a person. That was a big hole. It was comparable to being hit by a machine gun. Lin Fan's level 2 thunder and lightning power did not make Lin Fan feel satisfied. The magnetic control power spread for thousands of meters around him, and he kept waving out a series of thunder snakes in his hand. Shooting, the zombies blocking the road fell down one after another, their heads turned black and smelled of paste. They were just killing zombies, and they were not pursuing destructive power. Lin Fan controlled it very well, neither wasting it nor being unable to kill the zombies. Thunder and lightning, his powers were steadily improving. Lin Fan's walking speed was not slow. Compared to ordinary people, this speed could be considered running. Lin Fan did not find any survivors during the process, but unfortunately, they were all men. Lin Fan was too lazy to pay attention and just let them fend for themselves. After walking through the hospital street and standing at the crossroads, Lin Fan was considering which way to go, and then decisively walked to the right. This was not his choice, but something. Several people broke into the range of perception controlled by his magnetism. Among them were 4 men and 1 woman. According to Lin Fan's perception, the 5 people were very cautious. They should have come out to replenish food. Several of them had simple weapons in their hands, and even one the police pistol, and the rest were sharpened iron rods, axes, etc., which seemed to be good weapons. While killing the zombies, he leaned over. The distance of 1,000 meters was not a problem at all for Lin Fan. Soon Lin Fan stood 10 meters away from several people. Ding! Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, lightning control ability experience add 1, current experience is 50/50ths. Ding! The thunder and lightning ability has been upgraded. The current level is LV3. The destructive power of thunder and lightning has been increased, and the release distance has been increased. Accidentally, the lightning power was upgraded. The lightning struck his body. This time, Lin Fan could feel the improvement more obviously than the last time. At the same time, the lightning energy flow in his body as thick as a hair increased 3 times. More than enough. But Lin Fan has no time to pay attention to these now. All his thoughts are now focused on the 5 people 10 meters away. These 5 people obviously came out to replenish food. There is probably a gathering place for survivors behind them. More than 10 meters away, the 4 people were unaware that Lin Fan was observing them. The 5 of them were covered in dirty mud and carefully entered a supermarket. After a while, they ran out carrying several large bags. They seemed to be very skilled. Originally Lin Fan thought that these 4 people were stable, but accidents often happen so unprepared. The bag in the hand of the tall and thin man holding a gun actually broke, and several bottles of canned drinks fell out and hit the ground. There was a crisp sound, and in an instant, the air became quiet. The zombies no longer wandered aimlessly, looking at them with deathly gray eyes. Lin Fan slapped his head. He planned to help 5 people, but right here at that time, after all, we still wanted to plot someone else's survivor camp. We couldn't let 5 people be wiped out in this group, right? But before Lin Fan took action, the situation in the field changed again, and Lin Fan was stunned on the spot. Damn it! 66666. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Doomsday. Chapter 63. Chapter 063. The ugliness of human nature, the desperate woman. Bang. Ah. Well. The gunfire was piercing, and the smoke was filled. A spray of blood sprayed on the concrete floor. The dull and sharp scream was short and seemed to be forcibly suppressed. At the entrance of the supermarket, a tall and thin man holding a pistol fired one shot. He hit the shocked woman on the leg, and quickly snatched the bag from the woman's hand with a cold voice. "Take the back door of the supermarket and evacuate from there." The other three men seemed to be used to this kind of thing. They were not shocked at all. They turned around and rushed into the supermarket without hesitation. They seemed to be used to this kind of thing. One look at the posture of the four men and they knew that they were habitual offenders. Xiao Xiao, after being shot, the woman covered her chin in pain. She was forced to suppress her scream just now, but it didn't help at all. The harsh gunshot attracted the attention of all the zombies around, and the fresh smell of blood attracted these. The zombies turned from lazy to violent, roaring towards the woman with their ferocious beaks. Dragging the injured Ziofa, looking at the four people leaving the supermarket without looking back, Wang Ziwen felt despair. She didn't expect these bastards to be so capable, even injuring her and asking her to break the rear so that they could escape. Wang Ziwen finally understood why many of the people who were brought out before did not go back. The four of them were the ones left after going back and forth. It turned out that they had fooled all those who opposed them outside. A roar. The roar of the zombies was getting closer and closer. Wang Ziwen turned to look at the group of corpses getting closer and closer. She knew that she would die here today, unless a miracle happened. "Lu Haoshan, you bastard! Brute! I won't let you go even if I'm a ghost." The desperate and vicious curses spread far away. This was Wang Ziwen's last stubbornness. Apart from that, she could no longer find a way to retaliate against Lu Haoshan and those people. "Go to hell! Go to hell!" Bang! The iron rod in her hand swung and knocked the zombies to the ground. Even though she knew she would die, Wang Ziwen was not willing to be killed by the zombies. She also wanted to kill a few zombies before she died. She was not they can be eaten so easily. Are zombies the most terrifying thing in the apocalypse? No, the most terrifying thing is human beings. ETA Euro trademark S human nature. At the most critical moment, shoot and injure your companions, and then escape for your own life. In order to survive, you will do anything. Extremely. In fact, Lu Haoshan and the others really couldn't escape unscathed. Not really, but they chose the safest way, letting their companions use their lives as bait to clear the way for them. In fact, it was also very successful. All the zombies were killed. Wang Ziwen was attracted. Looking at the woman surrounded by zombies, Lin Fan knew that it was his turn to take action. With how much this woman hated those people, being a leader must not be a problem, right? Lightning flashed, and blue lightning snakes appeared. Flying through the air, zombies died one after another wherever they passed. In an instant, a 3-meter-wide passage appeared among the zombies. Ding! Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, lightning control ability experience add 1, current experience is 11/100. Ding! Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, lightning control ability experience add 1, current experience is 50/100. A man appeared next to Wang Ziwen in one step. The smell hit his face. Lin Fan frowned and looked at the stunned woman. He gave up the idea of a euro grabbing her with his hands. The magnetic force spread and he flew her directly to the supermarket. Standing on the roof of the building. Before Wang Ziwen realized what was happening, she saw a series of arcs flying over, and then the dense zombies fell into a large area, and then she felt a sense of weightlessness. The vision blurred for a moment, and then she flew to the roof. Wang Ziwen was confused. What happened? Why did she come out of the zombie pile inexplicably? Just when Wang Ziwen was confused, the light and shadow around her blurred, a tall figure appeared beside him out of thin air. The sudden appearance of Lin Fan startled Wang Ziwen, and she subconsciously wanted to retreat. Pain came from her legs, and Wang Ziwen fell to the ground uncontrollably. But at this time, Wang Ziwen didn't have time to pay attention to the gunshot wound on her leg. She looked at Lin Fan with dull eyes and asked, "Who are you?" Looking at the extremely dirty woman in front of him, Lin Fan had to praise her even though she was very smelly. It is not easy for everyone to survive the apocalypse. Take this woman as an example. The stinky mud on her body almost wipes out all human beings. The smell is completely covered. With such a bad smell, the zombie's nose will not work no matter how good it is. This greatly reduces the possibility of being attacked by zombies. It doesn't a Euro trademark T matter who I am, do I want to make a deal? Wang Ziwen was stunned and asked tentatively, what kind of deal? I saved you and even healed the gunshot wound on your leg. The price is to take me to your gathering place. I can even hand over those 4 men to you and let you do whatever you want. How about that? Lin Fan said calmly. Lin Fan's conditions were too generous, especially the last condition. She couldn't find any reason to refuse. I promise you. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Doomsday. Chapter 64. Chapter 064. 4 white-eyed wolves arrive at the gathering place of survivors. Call, call. In the underground passage, 4 figures were running quickly, each carrying a big bag in their hands. They were the 4 Lu Haoshan who had just escaped from the supermarket. Brother Hao fought well. I have long been unhappy with that woman. She led a group of women to resist us. It was really desperate. While running, the man on the far left spoke, with deep resentment and flattery for Lu Haoshan in his words. Isn't it? That bastard, even if he is a noble person, he still encourages those women, what the hell? Do you still think eat a Euro trademark S before the end? I have long wanted to kill this bitch, but now without her, I wonder how those women can escape my grasp, he he he. The other 2 men were also cursing, and their tone was obscene. Lu Haoshan, who was running in the middle, glanced at the brothers with contempt. A few idiots know how to play with women. If they didn't need their support, Lu Haoshan would have killed these guys long ago. Kicked away. Stop talking, everyone who dares to oppose us has been called out and killed. Now go back quickly and kill all the remaining disobedient thorns. The 3 men chuckled, brother, if there are women, leave them to us. It would be a pity to kill them. The brothers promised to make them submissive in a few days. Glancing at the 3 of them sideways, Lu Haoshan gave a non-committal hum and did not refuse. Lu Haoshan's reaction made the 3 of them overjoyed, and there was another burst of flattery. The 4 of them ran out from another survivor gathering place. The gathering place was invaded by zombies, and he ran out as a last resort, and was kindly accepted by Wang Ziwen's forces. However, Lu Haoshan was not a kind person to begin with. He came and went, and in the name of supplying food, he trapped many people. Don't look down on those who dislike them and oppose them. The current Wang Ziwen is the last one. On the rooftop of the supermarket, he tore off Wang Ziwen's trouser legs. Looking at the injuries above, Lin Fan moved his fingers, and a bullet flew out. Without anesthetic, Wang Ziwen gritted his teeth and groaned. Not good at treating injuries, Lin Fan simply disinfected her and then bandaged her wound with a bandage. During the process, Wang Ziwen almost died from the pain. She removed the warhead and then poured alcohol on the wound to disinfect it. It was so sore and refreshing. Standing by and waiting for the woman to catch her breath, Lin Fan said, "Can you leave?" Wang Ziwen turned pale and nodded weakly. Controlling Wang Ziwen to fly, Lin Fan moved a little away from her. There was nothing he could do, it was too stinky. Give directions. Wang Ziwen took a look and pointed in a direction, that way. With Wang Ziwen pointing the way, Lin Fan quickly led her to the roof of a building. As soon as he stopped, he saw Lu Haoshan and 4 others emerging from the sewer. There were 2 people guarding the sewer area. The 4 returned with a large amount of food, which immediately attracted many survivors, including men and women. Seeing the huge harvest of the 4 people, they were all overjoyed. So many. Enough for us to live frugally for several days. Oh my God, there are bottles of wine and cartons of cigarettes, the Euro trademark is awesome. It's amazing that Haushin and the others can bring back so many things every time they go out. Why are there only 4 of you, where is Ween Wen? After more than a dozen survivors got excited, a woman finally discovered something was wrong. There were 5 of us when we went out, but how come only 4 came back? Lu Haoshan kept watching with cold eyes, as did the 3 brothers next to him, with a sarcastic look on his face. Smile. What happened to you guys? Why are you not speaking? Where is Ween Wen? Yes, where is Sister Ween Wen? Several women rushed up and questioned Lu Haoshan and the 4 of them, not noticing anything was wrong at all. Sister Ween Wen? Damn you, Sister Ween Wen, who do you think you are and how dare you question me? Sun Ji slapped the woman who was coming towards her to the ground. Sun Ji looked ferocious. He had long been unhappy with these women. They had no sense of self-consciousness at all. They would be giggling all day long if they didn't do anything. Isn't this kind of woman like this? Should it be used as a tool for excretion? Hello. What are you doing? Several men saw the situation and rushed forward. Just as they were about to take action, Lu Haoshan raised his hand and pulled the trigger. Bang! The piercing sound of gunfire echoed, and the man who rushed forward was shot in the head. He was shot on the spot. Death. The sudden scene shocked everyone present. Even the few men who wanted to rush over froze in place. After blowing the smoke from the gun and watching the scene suddenly quiet down, Lu Haoshan was very satisfied. The feeling of being in control of the situation is really great. Wang Ziwen is dead, now I make the decision here, do you understand now? From now on, I will decide the rules here. Those who are disobedient will see who is tougher, your heads or my bullets. Glancing around the crowd, Lu Haoshan smiled slightly, making everyone feel cold in their hearts. Do you understand? Bright, understood. Everyone nodded in fear, and Lu Haoshan asked, does anyone else have any objections? Tell me and I will listen. The surroundings were extremely quiet. At this moment, no one dared to speak out to object. Lu Haoshan felt unprecedentedly content. This is what he wanted. I said, I'm not dead yet, and you want to cause trouble? Have you asked me? Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 65. Chapter 065. Are you teaching me how to do things? Who has more guns? Standing on the roof and watching everything Lu Haoshan did, Lin Fan had to give him a thumbs up. He was a man with ideas, brains, and ability. It was just a pity that he met him by chance and was destined to be tragic. The pale-faced Wang Ziwen also saw it, and the resentment and hatred in her eyes almost solidified. Seeing Lu Haoshan's domineering appearance, she couldn't help it. I said, I'm not dead yet, and you want to cause trouble? Have you asked me? Lu Haoshan, the 2 of us need to settle our accounts. The voice is so familiar that it couldn't be more familiar. This is Wang Ziwen's voice? Lu Haoshan and everyone are stunned. What the hell is this? Wang Ziwen can run out when surrounded by zombies. Or was she shot in the leg? What to shoot? What's the joke? Lu Haoshan followed the sound and happened to see Lin Fan and Wang Ziwen falling from the sky. This way of appearing was really shocking. Flying down from the sky lightly? Is there something wrong with the way I opened the Doomsday? Ween Wen. Sister Ween Wen. Several women seemed to have found a backbone, and even the woman who was lying on the ground in a daze crawled to Wang Ziwen's side. After glancing at the women in the field, Lin Fan quickly lost interest. Beautiful. It depends on who you compare with. If Lin Yu and the others are goddesses with a score of 9 or higher, then among these few, Lin Fan, the prettiest and best figured one, will only score an 8.7. Some of them can even plow the ground. The awl on his chin made Lin Fan a little scared. If he hadn't gone under the knife before the end, he would have written the word Lin Fan backwards. After looking at Lin Fan for a few seconds, he lost interest. The most beautiful original one only scored 8.7, and the rest it was simply unsightly to look at. These could barely be considered as farmers. If they wanted to kill zombies, they could be included in the team. Anyway, he couldn't do it because he was too reluctant. After comforting a few women, Wang Ziwen looking at Lu Haoshan. The cold and resentful look made Lu Haoshan subconsciously take 2 steps back. When the 4 of you fled here, I accepted you with kindness despite the objections of others. However, the 4 of you turned out to be so ambitious, like white-eyed wolves who couldn't get enough to eat. What did I do to you? You actually attacked me in order to seize power and cut off the air. You are simply worse than an animal. Wang Ziwen's words immediately made everyone present react. Looking at the bandage on Wang Ziwen's leg, everyone understood what was going on. After a brief shock, Lu Haoshan regained his composure and held the gun in his hand. It gave him a great sense of security. Although Wang Ziwen appeared in a weird way, the gun in his hand was his greatest confidence. No matter how weird you are, can you still dodge bullets? Winner or loser, the facts are written by the victor. Now is the end. Lu Haoshan's voice was cold. He raised his arm and pointed his finger at the survivors around him. What else can these wastes do besides eating? Why should I take my brothers and risk their lives to find food, while these losers can just sit back and enjoy the benefits? When Lu Haoshan pointed at him, these survivors all blushed and had thick necks, but because of Lu Haoshan's fierce power, no one dared to speak. Don't talk about the end of the world. We are all human beings and should help each other. I have a gun in my hand. If you can't resist me, just obey my orders. Or die. Wang Ziwen, what will happen if you come back alive? If I can give you 1 shot, I can give you a 2nd shot. If you don't a Euro trademark T want to die, just be obedient. The muzzle of the gun was raised and pointed at Wang Ziwen's head. Lu Haoshan's eyes were cold, or you can try to see how hard your life is. Facing the black hole of the gun, Wang Ziwen was still afraid. She subconsciously looked at Lin Fan and saw all kinds of extraordinary things about Lin Fan. She put all her hopes on Lin Fan. After all, Lin Fan promised to kill Lu Haoshan. The 4 people taught her how to deal with it. Looking at Wang Ziwen's eyes, Lu Haoshan frowned. He was still a little wary of Lin Fan, the new face who fell from the sky with Wang Ziwen, but the gun in his hand gave him a huge boost. Confidence. My friend, I don't a Euro trademark T know what Wang Ziwen promised you, but I can guarantee that as long as you don't a Euro trademark T interfere in this matter, you can do whatever you want with these women. We can jointly manage the survivor gathering place and gather more living people. Wang Ziwen was frightened and looked at Lin Fan nervously. If Lin Fan defected before the battle, she would be in trouble. Shrugging, Lin Fan said coldly, although I also want to take these women away, but this person pays more attention to promises. I promised Wang Ziwen before that I would leave you to her, and the price was that she would show me the way. Lu Haoshan's heart sank, and he pointed his gun at Lin Fan. Does this mean there's no more talk, friends? Don't challenge my patience, and don't challenge the gun in my hand. Being pointed at a gun, the gun that others feared was no different from a fire stick in Lin Fan's eyes. He lightly snapped his fingers, and a dozen pistols appeared in the air, pointing the guns at Lu Haoshan and the 4 of them. I have this stuff too, more than you do. Now eat a Euro trademark. My turn to ask you. Friends, don't challenge my patience, nor the pile of guns in my hand. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Doomsday. Chapter 66. Chapter 066. If a person is not ruthless, he will not be able to stand firmly. A stick will make him a scum. Click. The sound of more than a dozen pistols being loaded simultaneously was so clear. Facing the dozens of black muzzles, Lu Haoshan was stunned. Damn it! Are you so poisonous? Where did you get so many guns? Looking at the gun in his hand, Lu Haoshan felt shabby. Of course, he was also shocked by Lin Fan's unpredictable ability. There are more than a dozen guns floating in the air. What kind of ability is this? His three views are about to collapse. Arena Euro trademark T. There no superpowers since the end of the world. What's going on with the man in front of me? The sudden appearance of a dozen guns not only shocked Lu Haoshan, but also shocked the surrounding survivors. After a brief moment of fright, Sun Ji seemed to have remembered something. The more he looked at Lin Fan's face, the more familiar he felt. After comparing it, he had confirmed his suspicion. Big brother, be careful. This man is the god that went viral last night. He flew across the sky and carried a bunch of fruit trees across the sky over the magical city. He should be very powerful. Brother, if a hero doesn't suffer the immediate consequences, let's give in. Lu Haoshan was at a loss. What kind of immortal? What kind of ethereal crossing? Why didn't he know? He spent last night planning how to kill Wang Ziwen. He had no time to play with his mobile phone, so he missed a lot of things. But one thing, he knew that the man across from him was very powerful. Not to mention superpowers, he couldn't afford to mess with these guns. If he didn't want to become a hornet's nest, he had to admit his defeat. He raised his hand decisively and threw the gun on the ground reluctantly. Don't a Euro trademark T mention how frustrated Lu Haoshan was. He didn't a Euro trademark T expect that Lin Fan suddenly appeared. He lost everything and even lost the gun in his hand. This was a loss to his grandma Euro trademark S family. Seeing Lu Haoshan put down his gun and surrendered, Lin Fan raised his eyebrows and said, "It's really boring. I thought we were going to have a passionate shootout, but you just surrendered like this. Okay, I'll leave these 4 people to you. I fulfilled my promise. With a wave of his hand, more than a dozen guns were taken back, along with Lin Haoshan's one on the ground, and several magazines. Seeing his own gun disappear inexplicably, Lu Haoshan was so heartbroken that he couldn't breathe. You already have so many guns, why don't you? Letting me go is so disrespectful. Without the threat, Wang Ziwen stood up, holding an iron rod in her hand, and without saying a word, she hit her with a stick. Her ruthlessness made Lin Fan look askance. This woman, really he dared to strike. He thought he was going to ask his mother-in-law for a while, but it turned out that he didn't a Euro trademark T say much, so he went up and opened the gourd. This was a real gourd. As soon as the iron rod came down, he hit the head of the man at the end on the spot, and he didn't a Euro trademark T even say a word. None, so he fell to the ground and died. One of the 4 brothers was killed suddenly. Lu Haoshan and the others did not expect Wang Ziwen to be so cruel. They thought they would be punished at most and then expel them, but they did not expect that they killed them directly. Run! Lu Haoshan couldn't help but shouted, turned around and ran towards the sewer. As long as he jumped into the sewer, he would have to start all over again. Wang Ziwen was now a cripple, so there was no way he could catch up with him. In fact, this was indeed the case. The 3 of them turned around and started all over again. Run! Wang Ziwen was lame and couldn't catch up. Lin Fan raised his eyebrows. If I let you run away, wouldn't it appear that I don't mean what I say? With a wave of his hand, the 3 of them flew back and fell to the ground. Wang Ziwen breathed a sigh of relief, limped forward, picked up the stick and smashed it down. Bang! The sound was dull, and the three of them were stunned. Before one of them could react, a hole opened in his head. With blood splattered on his face, Sun Ji shivered and peed out of fright. He looked at Wang Ziwen walking over and waved his hands quickly. No, don't kill me, I was also forced, I just obeyed orders, it was all Lu Haoshan. Kill Lu Haoshan. As he said that, Sun Ji hurriedly pointed at Lu Haoshan next to him. Lu Haoshan was stunned by this operation. A nest of snakes and rats all deserve to die. Wang Ziwen swung the stick and hit Wang Ziwen hard. Sun Ji had no time to dodge and was knocked to the ground. 3 people died tragically one after another. Lu Haoshan's eyes were bleak, he gritted his teeth and looked at Wang Ziwen, and said unwillingly, I hate it. If it weren't for others to help you, I wouldn't lose at all. Yes, you are right, but the fact is that I won. After Wang Ziwen finished speaking, she stopped talking nonsense, picked up the stick and hit Lu Haoshan on the head. She hit Lu Haoshan's head with all her strength. Lu Haoshan's head was smashed and deformed. In this situation, even gods can't save him. Witnessing the prince throughout the whole process of Wen's revenge, Lin Fan sighed in his heart, it's really scary for a woman to be cruel. After finishing the 4 people, Wang Ziwen dragged her injured leg to Lin Fan and said thank you, if it weren't for you, I might have died. And these 4 scum are still at large. It doesn't matter, this is what I promised you. I have many shortcomings. The only good thing about me is that I keep my word. Lin Fan didn't take Wang Ziwen's gratitude seriously and glanced at several women. He hadn't finished his business yet. Your business is done, now it's my turn. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 67. Chapter 067, Human life is like a piece of grass, the end of the world when strength is paramount. Will. Now you. What's the meaning? Wang Ziwen was stunned for a moment, not understanding what Lin Fan meant. Pointing at the people in front of her, Lin Fan smiled and said, you don't think I'm here for charity, do you? I came to your place for no reason, just to take a look. Do you think that's possible? Wang Ziwen was dumbfounded. Looking at the smile on Lin Fan's face, she had a bad feeling. The women around her subconsciously took 2 steps back. What left Lin Fan speechless the most was that the men all took a step back in fear. Distance. Can a man withdraw his hammer? Can he not even beg him? The purpose of my coming is very simple. You and these women all come with me. From today on, your ownership belongs to me. You have no right to refuse. There are only 2 kinds of women in my eyes. Facing the frightened looks of these women, Lin Fan said calmly, the first type is my woman or maid, the second type is a dead person, take your pick. Wang Ziwen felt chilled in her heart, what is this? Just killed a jackal, but found a tiger brought back. She clenched the iron rod in her hand, but she didn't feel the slightest sense of security. Can I not choose? Nodding seriously, Lin Fan said, okay, I am the most knowledgeable person. Not choosing means abstaining. Abstaining will automatically fall into the second category. Do you want to try it? Wang Ziwen. After all that effort, Wang Ziwen still wants to fight for something. Who wants to lose their personal freedom? Is there anyone in the world who wants to be a maid? Do you think I'm easy to talk to? Lin Fan asked suddenly. The sudden question interrupted what Wang Ziwen wanted to say. Before she could speak, Lin Fan waved his hand and a lightning arc flashed through, instantly piercing a man's head. Ah 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 ah. The man's body fell, and piercing screams followed. Wang Ziwen's pupils shrank, and Lin Fan told her with the facts that she had no right to choose. And the man who refused was the consequences. This man could really kill them. Looking at the women who were caught in fear, Lin Fan raised his hand and pointed his finger at the side of his head. Seeing Lin Fan's action, The women's frightened screams instantly became much quieter. "If you continue to argue, I will send you to stay with that man." The women huddled together in fear, covering their heads with their palms, shaking their heads as if to promise that they would never scream again. "I like obedient women." Lin Fan smiled with satisfaction, spread his hands and said, "Okay, let's choose. I'll give you 10 seconds. Once the 10 seconds are up, the second option will be selected by default." The women were extremely frightened. As soon as Lin Fan finished speaking, he shouted in panic, "The first type? The first one, we choose the first one. Yes, yes, we choose the first option and we will follow you." If only it had been like this, one less person would have died. Lin Fan sneered. Looking at these women, Lin Fan felt disdain in his heart. These women belonged to the category of donkeys, and they would be beaten away without being led away. Wang Ziwen was tormented in her heart. After all, she could not bear the 10-second countdown to death. After 10, when the seconds were about to run out, he whispered, "I choose the first option, I don't want to die." Tisk tisk, shaking his head, Lin Fan joked, "I thought you would rather die than surrender for the sake of freedom." Unexpectedly, you chose the first option, which made me look forward to it in vain. Isn't a Euro trademark it the same whether you choose early or late? He had to be careful and even killed an innocent person. Lin Fan's words were like knives piercing Wang Ziwen's heart. She almost collapsed. The men around her were frightened. When they heard Lin Fan's words, they all looked at Wang Ziwen angrily, as if she had done something. It's the same as a heinous thing. Appreciating the expressions of everyone present, Lin Fan felt it was ironic. It was clearly him who committed the murder, but these men chose to put the blame on Wang Ziwen out of fear. Strength, strength. What if? Without strength, you will be like these people in this doomsday. Life and death are all controlled by other people's thoughts. Human life in the doomsday is as worthless as grass. Go get your things. You have 10 minutes. Meet here in 10 minutes. The women glanced at Lin Fan in fear and moved away one after another. Faced with the resentful and hateful eyes of the men, Wang Ziwen felt bitter in her heart, but she didn't know what to say. She should be considered a traitor now, right? She had clearly treated these people before, that's great. Lin Fan didn't wait long, and these women didn't dare to make Lin Fan wait any longer. They all came out in less than 5 minutes. Everyone gathered together with some simple changes of clothes. Everyone came together. Lin Fan waved his hand, and 9 women including Wang Ziwen floated into the air and quickly disappeared. After Lin Fan left, the remaining 7 men all collapsed on the ground, their faces pale and sweating profusely. It was dripping wet, as if he had run for several kilometers. Lin Fan was not interested in knowing what would happen to these men in the future. They should not live long. How long could a bunch of courageless trash, who didn't even dare to go out to find food, live? Such people would be killed. His hands are dirty, so he might as well turn into a zombie so that he can get experience and points after killing him. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 68. Chapter 068. The hospital is developing, status and choice. They flew back to the hospital with 9 women. Looking down from a high altitude, Zhao Yanyan and Li Saiki were cleaning up zombies at the entrance of the hospital, working extremely hard. Farther away, on the planned wasteland, Lin Yuyu was directing several women to take turns plowing the ground with hose. A group of women were sweating like rain. Some were plowing the ground, some were watering, and some were scattering seeds. Everything was on track. Looking at these pictures, Lin Fan nodded and brought 9 women directly to Lin Yuyu. Lin Yuyu had sensed Lin Fan's aura a long time ago. Seeing Lin Fan coming down with a group of women, Lin Yuyu took a few steps to meet him. "My lord, you are back." Nodding, Lin Fan pointed. Wang Ziwen and others behind him said, "This is what I gained from going out this time. Yu, you can make arrangements for me, and I will leave first." Leaving the 9 women behind, Lin Fan left the hospital again, leaving no trace behind. When necessary, Lin Yu is better than him at dealing with those women. His task is to keep bringing women back to increase the population of the force. After Lin Fan left, Lin Yu looked at Wang Ziwen and others in front of her and said indifferently, "Since you have been brought back by the Lord, you should understand your current status. Now you have 2 choices." With that, Lin Yu pointing to a group of women who were immersed in farming, he said, "First, like them, they are responsible for a series of tasks such as farming and cleaning every day, and their status belongs to the lowest level. Second." Lin Yu pointed to the fence around the hospital, "Have you seen those zombies? Your task is to pick up weapons and fight zombies. If you have a higher status, your living conditions will also be better. No matter which one you choose, you can have enough food and clothing. The premise is that you work hard. Whether it is farming or killing zombies, it is the same. If someone is lazy and I find out, you cannot bear the consequences. Here, no one will force you to accompany a man, you can resolve it yourself if necessary." After explaining the rules, looking at the 9 women in front of him, Lin Yu said, "Choose." The women looked at the group of women farming on the ground, and then at the zombies on the other side of the fence. Each of them looked bitter. They had never done such heavy work in farming, and they didn't dare to kill zombies. But compared to those scary zombies, these women are more willing to do non-dangerous things like farming. I choose the first one. I also choose the first option." "Me too." Listening to the choices of the women around her, Wang Ziwen shook her head. Compared with these women, she would rather kill zombies. It's not like she has never killed zombies before. Some choices, once made, are difficult to change. When these women get used to a stable life, even if they have the lowest status, they will never choose to kill zombies, even if their status as female warriors will be higher. "I choose the second option, I want to fight zombies." Wang Ziwen said her choice. Among the 9 people, only she chose the second option. After the women finished choosing, Lin Yu nodded and waved to the farmland, with a smile on her face. The earthly woman trotted over and said respectfully, "My lord, please give me your orders. Take the 8 of them to the dormitory to settle down, and then go out to farm together." "Yes, my lord." Without even looking at the girls, Lin Yu focused on Wang Ziwen and said calmly, "Follow me." Wang Ziwen didn't dare to refute. Lin Yu's eyes made her feel indescribable fear. She limped behind Lin Yu. Wang Ziwen walked very hard. Lin Yu didn't wait for her at all. She just being able to endure the discomfort and chase after her. In the ward, Lin Yu took the gauze and bandaged Wang Ziwen again, stood up and looked at Wang Ziwen sitting on the chair, and said in a calm tone, "You need to rest for a few days and wait for the wound to scar. I will send someone to deliver weapons to you. During this period, your rations will be distributed according to those maids who farm. Someone will take you to the female warrior's dormitory after a while. You are very dirty. Just wipe it with a towel dipped in water. Don't let the wound get infected. Recuperate well. As long as you work hard, the Lord will not treat you badly." Soon, Wang Ziwen was left alone in the ward. Looking at the empty door, Wang Ziwen looked blank. There were too many things that happened today, so much that she couldn't even react. From now on, am I someone else's maid? Sighing, Wang Ziwen accepted her fate. Here, after leaving the hospital, Lin Fan returned to the crossroads where he found Wang Ziwen and the others, and continued to search aimlessly. He had already mapped out the search scope, with the hospital as the center. 10 kilometers in 4 directions, southeast, northwest, and after these 10 kilometers have been searched, we can continue to expand the area. By then, the hospital should have a lot of people, right? By then, it will not just be cleaning up zombies through fences, but using the hospital as the center began to clean up and create a true safe zone. Within 10 kilometers. It is the Pure Land. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Doomsday. Chapter 69. Chapter 069. The military appears in Holy Land Department Store. At Holy Land Department Store, Bai Hao nervously looked at the soldiers in front of him who were armed with live ammunition and well equipped. His heart was agitated. In the morning, he was woken up by the roar of a helicopter. When he woke up and saw the military helicopter flying over from the distant sky, Bai Hao couldn't help but be so excited. Good guy. It's been a month since the end of the world, and he finally saw a military helicopter. Not only did he see it, but all the survivors in the Holy Land Department Store saw it. Hundreds of people swarmed out and headed straight to the rooftop. They wanted to ask for help. After all, military helicopters represented the army, and the army represented hope and rescue. They did not want to be trapped in this commercial building forever. No matter how much food there is in the shopping mall, sooner or later it will all be finished. As for the downstairs, the dense zombies are enough to make people who don't a Euro trademark T have panic attacks suffer from panic attacks. Not only have zombies besieged the building, but there are also countless zombies downstairs. If the escalator had not been destroyed, the zombies would have rushed up. It can be said that the way to escape has been completely cut off. They will either starve to death or be killed by the zombies. Eat it. In this desperate environment, many people couldn't bear it and committed suicide by jumping off the building. Bai Hao watched a man jump directly from the roof of the building and was instantly submerged in a sea of a euro corpses. At that moment, Bai Hao felt deep despair. But now, seeing the military helicopter appear, this undoubtedly gave everyone hope. Hundreds of people rushed to the roof, cheering, shouting, screaming, and waving hard at the military helicopter. I don't know if their calls for help had any effect, but the helicopter actually landed straight on the top floor of the commercial building. At this moment, everyone, including Bai Hao, was screaming excitedly. Until these soldiers with guns and live ammunition walked down in front of them, Bai Hao was stunned by his first words. Which of you is Bai Hao? Still alive? The crowd fell silent instantly, and then they all looked at Bai Hao, who looked stunned and pointed at his chin. Are you calling me? Is your name Bai Hao? Among the 6 soldiers, a sturdy soldier walked up and looked at him. The momentum that hit him made Bai Hao speechless for a moment. Ye Feng looked at the fat man in front of him, he took out his phone and found a post, then handed it to Bai Hao in front of him and asked, "Did you post this post?" Bai Hao took a look, swallowed, and nodded. He didn't know what the soldier in front of him wanted to do, and he was a little uneasy for a moment. His account on the forum was verified. When he posted the video yesterday, he didn't think too much about it, but now it seems that this video should have a lot to say, otherwise these people wouldn't come here. He guessed that the soldiers in front of him were definitely looking for him to get the news. Not only would he not be in danger, it's even possible to get out of this cage. Thinking of this, he was extremely excited. Just bring your things and come with us. After Ye Feng finished speaking, he waved his hand and several soldiers came out behind him. You two, go get something with him. Yes, Major. Looking at Bai Hao walking down the rooftop, everyone was envious. At this time, Zhou Shaofei, the security captain of the department store, couldn't help but walked out. Stop. Before he could take 2 steps, he was stopped by 2 soldiers. Looking at the black muzzle of the gun, a layer of cold sweat broke out on Zhou Shaofei's head. Calm down, I just want to ask, what should we do? When is the military going to rescue us? Zhou Xiaofei's words spoke to everyone's thoughts. For a moment, hundreds of people looked at Ye Feng expectantly. From the names of the two soldiers just now, these people could tell that Ye Feng was the person in charge. His face was stern, Ye Feng's eyes are sharp, and he is not angry but is proud of himself. There are no instructions from Shangfeng yet, but there are already plans to enter the city to clean up the zombies. After hearing Ye Feng's words, everyone felt relieved. Zhou Xiaofei laughed twice and stepped back. He is not that easy to fool. What kind of bullshit plan? He just deceived those idiots, but he was not dissatisfied at all. I'm very happy. It's good that no one comes to rescue him. Then he can continue to enjoy the blessings in the shopping mall. There are many women in the shopping mall, who are much better than the yellow-faced woman at home. When he reaches middle age, he doesn't have much spare money. In the past, he could only have enough to eat. Eat a Euro trademark S a blessing to the eyes, but eat a Euro trademark S different now. Now his life is much better than before the apocalypse. He still has some memories of the young woman last night. When the apocalypse comes, many people choose to indulge themselves in despair. During this period of time, Zhou Xiaofei almost there are different gun buddies every day. Bai Hao didn't leave for long, and soon came back with a camera and other things. The group got on the helicopter. Under the gaze of hundreds of people, the helicopter flew into the sky. In the cabin, Ye Feng looking at the excited Bai Hao coldly, he said to him, those two people in the video went over there, do you still remember? Bai Hao was excited, nodded quickly, pointed in the direction of the hospital, and vowed, sir, it's over there. I saw with my own eyes that those two people disappeared over there. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 70. Chapter 070. The lightning power has been advanced again, unlocking form changes. Rays of lightning flashed across the air quickly, as if appearing out of thin air. Wherever the lightning passed, zombies fell one after another. The lightning snake, full of destructive power, was extremely destructive. It also contains terrifying high temperatures, which are simply not something zombies can withstand. Distorting the surrounding light to achieve the effect of invisibility, Lin Fan walked on the dirty streets. The Doomsday came and countless people fled. The streets were filled with all kinds of vehicles, such as BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, Ferraris, and a series of luxury cars. The car was abandoned on the road like a piece of junk, with no one paying any attention to it. Zombies are not intelligent. They don't a Euro trademark T like luxury cars. The only thing zombies like is to eat people. The lightning was raging, and the surrounding zombies were living targets for Lin Fan. However, he was not out here to kill zombies. Finding living people was his ultimate goal, and killing zombies was just a byproduct along the way. Ding. Add 1 for killing zombies, add 1 points, add 1 experience for lightning control abilities, current experience is 100/100. Ding. Your lightning control ability is promoted to LV4, the lightning control ability is improved, the thunder form changes are unlocked, and the lightning radiation distance is increased. The lightning is raging on the body surface, and violent and destructive thunder and lightning energy is rushing through the body. Compared with the gentleness and strengthening of the body controlled by magnetic control, the thunder and lightning power is even more terrifying. The cells in the body are stimulated by the thunder and lightning power. It strengthened rapidly, the blood was refined, it contained more energy, the heart beat more powerfully, and a powerful feeling came over my heart. The energy of thunder and lightning surged again, increasing several times, and a wave of enlightenment appeared in my mind. As his control became stronger, more ways to use lightning powers were gradually unlocked. Lin Fan had never thought about condensing lightning into various forms and displaying them to enhance the destructive power, but it was limited by the total amount of energy and the problem has always been failure, but now I can finally do it. With the palm of my hand upward, several lightning lights intertwined into a network, and finally condensed into the shape of a leopard, and soon turned into a roaring tiger looking up to the sky. Its body shape kept changing, and I felt the destructive power within it. And a little mental power, Lin Fan dispersed it with satisfaction. Open your personal panel. Character, Lin Fan. Strength, 60. Agility, 60. Intelligence, 79. Physique, 80. Points, 12,900. Ability, Magnetic Field Control LV6 A Lightning Control LV4. Experience, 6109/10,000, 0/500. Possessed items, Flying Knife. It's a bit more terrifying. If you're not physically strong enough, you won't be able to withstand the violent and destructive power of thunder and lightning. As a result of not being strong enough, it is very likely that he will be crippled by lightning before he can hurt anyone else. After completing the advancement of his superpower, Lin Fan dove into the crowd of zombies. Thunder and lightning opened the way, and the zombies were blasted into charcoal by lightning. Just when Lin Fan was looking for survivors, a rumble came from the distance. Ever since he gained the superpower, Lin Fan's 5 senses were very sharp and he could hear the roar of a helicopter several kilometers away. Looking towards the horizon, Lin Fan saw a small black spot in the far east that was getting bigger and bigger. Lin Fan became a little interested. He didn't expect that he could actually see a helicopter appearing above the magic city. But after just 2 casual glances, Lin Fan didn't care anymore. Did the helicopter have anything to do with him? Even if it was for rescue, so what? Does he need someone to save him? Lin Fan felt that these zombies needed rescue more than him. With this thought, Lin Fan waved his hand, and the lightning condensed into a ball and flew out. Wherever it passed, zombies turned into charcoal if they were rubbed aside. After flying 50 meters, the violent lightning energy in the thunder ball lost control. Exploded instantly. Boom! The lightning raged, and blue arcs exploded. The lightning was like a long whip, like a thunder snake, raging across the ground. A radius of 20 meters instantly turned into a sea of a thunder. Hundreds of zombies twitched in the sea of a thunder, and were soon electrocuted. Became coke. Ding. 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 Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, lightning control ability experience add 1, current experience is 120/500. The lightning quickly dissipated. Looking at the 5-meter crater created by the thunderball 50 meters ahead, Lin Fan nodded with satisfaction. This destructive power was really powerful. This was not even his full strength. The thunderball just hit, which only consumes about 1/5 of his thunder and lightning power. It is much more powerful than high explosive grenades. It can be called an individual missile level. It has a radius of 20 meters and will kill anyone who is breathing. Go around the situation in front of you. Lin Fan continued to walk forward, crossing several buildings with the helicopter flying from the horizon. In the cabin, the pilot of the plane looked at the information suddenly displayed on the instrument panel and reported major, large-scale energy reactions have just been discovered. Ye Feng remained calm and asked, "Where is it?" "We're diagonally downward." Ye Feng turned his head and looked at the ground. On the chaotic streets, numerous cars were burning with flames, and black smoke was rising into the sky. Seeing this scene, Ye Feng quickly withdrew his gaze. "Ignore it and move on."